9 seconds. That's what he said. The tool does it in 9 seconds, and honestly, it's 90% there. He wasn't even talking to me. He was talking to his own boss, in a glass room, and I happened to be walking past with a cold coffee in my hand. 11 years of my work, measured against 9 seconds. And the worst part was, I believed him. For 11 years, I translated our product into Portuguese. Manuals, warranties, the little error messages nobody reads until something breaks. I was good at it. Not fast, good. There's a difference, and it used to matter. My manager was not a cruel man. I want to be fair about that, because it would be easier if he were. He was the kind of manager who loved a dashboard. He'd point at a screen and say, "The output is the output," as if that settled everything. Words per hour, cost per thousand. He talked about my work the way you'd talk about a factory line. I used to think that was just his way. I'd nod, go back to my desk, and do the thing I was proud of. I kept a glossary I'd built myself. 4,000 terms. Every one of them a small decision about how our company should sound to someone in Sao Paulo who was scared and confused and needed the sentence to be kind. Then, in the spring, they bought the machine, and within a month, my glossary stopped being an asset. It became evidence. The rollout was smooth, on paper. They called it a productivity initiative. My job title didn't change, but the work did. I stopped translating. I started post-editing, which is a clean word for cleaning up after the machine. Here is how a day went now. The engine translated a batch overnight. In the morning, I opened the file and fixed what it got wrong. And it got a lot wrong, in ways that never showed up on a dashboard. It turned "the warranty has run out" into "the warranty has escaped," because the verb had two lives and the machine picked the wrong one. It turned a warm apology into something that sounded like a legal threat. Small things. The kind a customer feels but can't name. My manager measured the new setup, and he was delighted. Throughput was up 400%. He said that number in a team meeting, twice. He put my post-edits and the machine's raw output side by side on a slide, and the slide said we were faster than ever. What the slide didn't say was that I was the reason it wasn't embarrassing. I flagged the warranty error. I wrote him a short message with the two versions and why it mattered. He replied with a thumbs up and a line I still remember. "Good catch, but the output is the output. We ship on speed now." Then the quotas came. Everyone on the language team got a words per hour target, benchmarked against the machine. You cannot beat a machine at words per hour. That is the entire point of a machine. But the target was there anyway, in a spreadsheet, with my name in a row and a red cell whenever I fell short. So I sped up. I stopped checking the things that took judgment. I told myself it was temporary. No. I didn't even tell myself that. I just did it. I let sentences through that I would have fixed a year ago because fixing them made my row turn red. I watched my own standards drop in real time and I called it the new normal. A woman on my team, a translator who had been there longer than me, went the other way. She tried to out-type the machine. She came in early. She skipped lunch. She turned herself into a faster machine to prove she still had worth. I watched her do it and I said nothing, because I had nothing hopeful to say. At night, I did a thing I'm not proud of. I would open the tool at home, on my own laptop, and feed it my old translations to see if it could match them, not to improve it, to scare myself. I would sit in the dark comparing 11 years to a progress bar, and some nights it came close enough that I couldn't breathe right. I stopped calling myself a translator. When people asked what I did, I said I worked in localization, which is a way of naming a job without claiming any of it. My hands still knew what to do. My head had stopped believing it mattered. I kept doing the arithmetic that fear does. If the machine is 90% as good and costs almost nothing, what is my 10% worth? And who decides when 10% is close enough to zero? I couldn't answer it, so I carried it. It sat on my chest at 3 in the morning. It sat next to me on the train. The worst part was not thinking the machine was better than me. The worst part was that I had started measuring myself with the same ruler my manager used. Words per hour, cost per thousand. I had taken his dashboard and installed it behind my own eyes. I was doing his job of shrinking me, for free, on my own time. The turn came on a Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday. The translator who had been racing the machine didn't come in. Word went around that she had been signed off, stress, and nobody said more than that. Somebody had already cleared the yogurt out of her drawer in the shared fridge. I sat at my desk and looked at my red cell, and I thought about her coming in early to lose a race that was rigged from the first day. And something in me went quiet, not calm, quiet, like a room after a machine is switched off. I had been trying to answer the wrong question. For months I had been asking, how do I type faster than the engine? It was the manager's question. It was the dashboard's question. And it had one answer, always. And the answer was no. So I stopped asking it. That night I didn't open the tool to torture myself. I opened a blank document instead, and I wrote one line at the top. What can it not do? Under that line I made a list, and the list saved me. The machine could translate a sentence. It could not decide whether we should sound formal or gentle to a nurse in Lisbon reading a recall notice at midnight. The machine could match words. It could not phone our reviewer in Brazil, the one who told me last year that a phrase we used sounded like something a landlord would say, and keep that relationship warm. The machine could produce 10,000 words an hour. It could not be accountable for a single one of them. When the warranty said escaped and a customer got angry, the machine didn't get the email. I did. That was the 10%. It was not 10% of the words. It was the part that decided whether the words could be trusted. And nobody at the company owned it, because everyone was staring at the throughput number. So I stopped defending my old job and started building a new one nobody had named yet. I kept a quiet log for 3 weeks. Not to catch anyone, to count. Every machine error that would have reached a customer, what it would have cost us, what a human catch was worth, the escaped warranty, a dosage note that dropped a word, a tone that would have come across as rude in a market where rude loses the sale. I wasn't racing the engine anymore. I was doing the work that sat above it. Then I wrote one page. Not a complaint, a proposal. It said the machine was good, genuinely good, and getting better, and that speed was no longer where our risk lived. Our risk lived in judgment, and judgment needed an owner. I proposed to be that owner, a review layer, a brand voice standard. The reviewer relationships in each market run by a person, on purpose. I priced it in the only language my manager spoke. The cost of one recalled mistranslation. Against the cost of me. I sent it on a Thursday night, to him and to his boss. And then, for a whole day, nothing, no reply, not a thumbs up, not a let's talk, nothing. His calendar the next morning just said, hold on a block with no title. I refreshed my inbox like it owed me money. I told myself no news was fine. No, that's not true. I went through my own proposal 4 times, looking for the sentence that had made me sound replaceable. I spent a day not knowing whether I had just repositioned myself or written my own case for being let go. Friday afternoon, the reply came. 2 lines. This is the conversation we should have started with. Monday, 10, my office. Monday came. He didn't open with a number. For the first time in a year, he opened with a question. He asked me what the review layer would need. If you are the one lying awake, feeding your old work to the machine to see how scared you should be, I want to tell you the thing I needed to hear that year. You are not imagining it. The tool is real, and it is fast. And some part of what you built your identity on can now be done by software. That fear is not weakness. It is accurate. And the part that is yours is this. You get to choose which ruler you are measured by. For months, I let a dashboard decide what I was worth. And a dashboard only knows how to count. It counts words, clicks, hours, units. It cannot count judgment. It cannot count trust. It cannot count the customer who stayed because a sentence sounded human on the day they needed it to. The mistake almost all of us make is to fight the machine where it is strongest. We try to be faster, cheaper, more tireless. That is a race you lose by design, and losing it quietly rots something in you. The move is the opposite one. You find the part of your job that the tool makes more valuable instead of less. Mine turned out to be the judgment nobody had bothered to name, because for 11 years it had been hidden inside the typing where I couldn't see it either. The machine could do the words. It could not do the choosing. Your whole career from here lives in the choosing. So here is what to do on Monday, before the fear picks the ruler for you. Take 1 hour and write 2 columns. On the left, every part of your job the tool can already do or soon will. On the right, every part that needs a human to be accountable, to decide, to hold a relationship, to carry the blame. Be honest. The left column is longer than it used to be. That is fine. Then pick one thing from the right column and make it visible this week. Put your name on the judgment, not on the typing. Don't defend the old job. Go own the part that sits above it. The translator who had raced the machine came back eventually. Different, slower, but back. I told her about the 2 columns one afternoon by the kettle, and I watched her right column fill up. And I watched her remember that she was more than a typing speed. She runs our European review standard now. The machine still does the first draft. She decides what ships. I won't tell you the fear is gone. It isn't. Not entirely. Some mornings I still open a file and feel the old cold drop in my stomach. But it is a different fear now. It is the ordinary fear of doing work that matters. Instead of the drowning fear of defending work a machine had already learned to copy. The tool didn't take my job. It took the part of my job I had been hiding behind. And it handed me back the part I was actually good at. The part I had been too busy and too scared to name. So look at your own job honestly, the way you would look at a friend's. Not the tasks, the judgment underneath them. What is the part of what you do that a tool could copy, but could never be trusted to own? Tell me. That answer is where you still get to stand.